we have people in my firm that are trial lawyers. They'll go to court and litigate. And there's, you know, one thing about law is there's a lot of different types of law to practice. One of my partners does nothing matrimonial law, just does divorces all the time. One of my partners is called a white-collar criminal lawyer. He basically represents doctors who get in trouble for fraudulently billing insurance companies. And so not only are they financially in trouble, but their licenses are on the line. So that's what I mean. It's good to have like your little, you know, your little niche. But in a normal day, because I'm not a trial lawyer, I come into my office and I spend a lot of time on the phone. You know, although that's, you know, changing. You get more emails and texting and all that stuff, even than what I do. But I spend a lot of time on the phone and then negotiating agreements between my clients and somebody else. And sometimes, very rarely are they easy, you know. They used to be a little easier, but now they're a lot more complicated. And I just had a deal this morning where I had a guy that was, I'm not going to get into detail about it, but I have a guy that wanted to buy a supermarket in New Jersey. And we were 99% of the way done, and then the landlord insisted on something at the last minute. And I told the landlord, forget it, my guy's not agreeing to that. And the deal is basically that made the whole deal fall through. So, you know, that's another thing you have to learn sometimes is you know, I have a feeling this particular deal, the landlord's going to end up giving in, and this particular deal is going to happen. But I had to sort of take it to the point where tell them forget it, it's off, before that, you know, and see if it comes back. So I spend my day doing that. I spend my day drafting agreements, you know, drafting purchase and sale agreements. That's kind of boring, to be honest with you. Even though, you know, you think they're all the same, they're really not. They're, you know, you use a template maybe but every deal is different. And that's something that it's boring. I don't like doing it, to be honest with you. But that's what work is. Sometimes work is boring, and that's, you know, that's another thing that people don't realize is that, you know, I don't care what you're doing. You know, work is boring sometimes. Hopefully you enjoy what you do. You know, and most of the time I do, but there's some aspects of it that I don't care what you're doing. You don't like, but it's part of what you do.
Was it hard to pass in the bar?
I would say that, yeah, it's getting a little warm here. If you want to plug that fan back in, you might cool it off a little bit. It's a little noisy. But the bar exam was, I would say it's a very hard exam, but the percentage of passing is very high. So the tough part about the bar exam is that you really have to spend like that 6 weeks or 8 weeks, or whatever, I don't remember how long it was, between law school and they give the bar like in the end of July. So if you get out of, you know, if you graduate law school in like May or something, you have to spend that time really doing nothing but studying. And I'm not a, you know, again, I was an okay studier, but I wasn't a 12-hour a day, you know, nut job that just did nothing but study. But for that, I didn't want to take the exam again. So I basically locked myself in a room and did nothing but study and figured, let me sort of suffer for 2 months and then hopefully be done with it. So. But you know, the other thing, that just reminds me of the other thing though, is that a lot of people think with law school or other degrees, or, you know, oh, there's so many smart kids, or there's so many smart people, like in law school. Even practicing law today, most people are not that smart, to be honest with you. So don't ever feel that, you know, you're not good enough or you're not smart enough. I guarantee every one of you can handle the workload in college and professional school if you want to go in that direction. People in general, it's amazing to me how there are so many lawyers out there that are not so smart, to be honest. Not serious.
But like, let's say you want to go to a different state and move and work out there, you have to take bar all over again, right?
It depends on what state, the answer is. If you want, some states have, you know, what's called like reciprocity. That basically every state is really different, but some states, you just have to make an application. If you're a New York lawyer, you just have to make an application, and I guess, you know, they do a background check and things like that, and if you've been practicing, they'll let you in. There's other states that you have to take the entire bar exam over again, which is brutal, especially if you've been out for a few years, because you know you're not in that like mindset to study like that anymore. And then there's other states that make you just take, you know, each state has their own laws. So there's a federal part, the national part that everybody takes, and each state has their own state part. So what I did, which, you know, again, you guys are not in law school, but what I would recommend was, I was in New York, and they gave, like the national part of the exam, the bar exam was on a Wednesday, and the state part of New York was on Tuesday. And then I found out that the New Jersey state part was on Thursday. So what I did is I figured, look, I don't know if I'm gonna end up in New Jersey or not, but it's like right here. You know, I'm already studied for it. It's like I tortured myself. Let me just sit one more day and take New Jersey. And New Jersey is an easier bar exam than New York is. So I ended up getting my New Jersey license, which was smart because White Road relocated to New Jersey. And again, that made me more marketable. But you know, one of the other things that I mentioned in response to that question is, you know, I said something about a background check. And when you apply for jobs or you go, when you're licensed in New York, you have to sort of pass you have to go through, they check your background. And you sort of have to have a relatively clean background. Some lawyers aren't so clean after the fact, but when they get in, you know, and you got to go in front of an ethics committee and an evaluation. So I think it's, you know, that like in any position, it's extremely important that you know, you keep your background as clean as possible and your criminal record can haunt you the rest of your life, really.
You see how you ran White Roads and so you moved up, like you kept on learning different aspects of the job while you were there?
Right.
Like if I was trying to be a receptionist, like how can I not just limit myself to, how can I move up, I guess in the ladder, from being a receptionist?
Well, that's a good question because I can tell you that when I first started at White Rose, before law school, we had this old woman who was the receptionist. And she was just so, you know, I don't know what, I think her husband might have made some money, I don't know what but she was an older woman and she just wanted she had a great way about her. She just wanted to be a receptionist. And, you know, but she was like a 65, 70-year-old woman. So, and she was very pleasant, and that's what she wanted to do. But and then I told her I went back to law school, and went back to White Rose, and for all the years that I was back at White Rose, they had a ton of receptionists. And the reason why they had so many, it wasn't because it was a bad place to work, is because every one of them got promoted to some more, you know, some business capacity, and they sue you, and you know, there's all kinds of, you know, of gender and race and sexual discrimination that you encounter out there. And human resources is a growing department with any company. And if you're a receptionist, you have typically you have a good wave of people, and that's what you need really for human resources. So my recommendation is that would find a situation where they might have a human resources department, and you can graduate from just being a receptionist. If you're good at what you do and you communicate well with the people you work with, including, you know, the person that might be the head of human resources. I don't think you have to have experience right away. No. I think what you need is some initiative, I think, and make sure that you tell people that you have an interest in doing more. You know, like I'm fine with being a receptionist now, but you have an interest in doing something.
I don't want to be a receptionist for 10 years.
Right, exactly. So I think and people know if you're capable of more. Nobody wants an employee that is overqualified for the job, or has outgrown that job. And, you know, so I think human resources is a great field. And in terms of experience, or back, you know, it's hard to get experience, but you get experience, you know. What White Rose did at the time, and I don't know what their program is now, but there were some people that wanted advanced degrees in human resources. And some of them went back to school while working at White Rose. And White Rose at the time actually helped fund it. There was some kind of tuition contribution. I don't know. I don't know. I would think you can get an associate's degree for that. So like anything else, I think you get an associate's degree, you get a 4-year degree. There's people that go to grad school for that, whether it's human resources or labor relations. So that's a very good field. But just make it known, like if you have that in, just make it known that you're capable of doing more. And what a lot of people do also is sometimes if you're a receptionist, sometimes you're on the phone keeps ringing like every second, you don't have time to do it. But sometimes it's downtime. And you can spend, there's people the less successful people at White Rose were the ones that sort of just hung around during downtime and didn't do anything, just sort of, did Sudoku or something, and were on Facebook or something while, so if you could go and say, look, give me some work to do, that's like probably the best step toward. Yeah, and people appreciate that, and believe me, people know if you communicate well and you have, a good head on your shoulders, people know that. What's that?
Your name?
Harlan Levine. Anything else you guys want to know about the workforce in general, or how to go about getting into school, or any of that? Getting into school is hard now too. Everything is like so hard now, especially law school is very hard to get into now because the economy is so bad. A few years ago, people were, everybody's trying to go into investment banking. Now, investment banking is not the greatest thing, so everybody's trying to go to law school now to sort of, use up 3 years of their time. But even getting into school is difficult. That's what I mean. It's not as important where you. I know some people say you got to go to, Howard school. I don't buy that. I think it's more important that you just do it. You dedicate yourself and you just do it. I don't care if it's around the corner from here or California. Just do it. Get it started because it'll be over before you know it.
My name is Sally Frischberg, and I'm a Holocaust survivor. As a child, I lived through one of the worst nightmares, the Nazi Holocaust. What I fear most is that we will wait too long before we help our young people understand the need to mobilize against the next tyranny. Support Words of Bonds, which retells stories like mine.
To learn more, visit wordsofbonds.com. That's wordsofbonds.com.